The letter from her brother overseas arrived at Margaret Causley's home in Sarnia in October 1918. 1 month before the Great War ended, it contained devastating news. Her son, Edward, had been killed in action. Her grief-stricken brother mentions that I nearly fainted. I could not believe it until I saw his grave. He was communion a few days before. When I last saw him, I thought the world of him, our dear, darling boy that is gone. Edward Causley was born in Sarnia on November 24, 1897, the eldest child of Levi Francis and Margaret Causley. At the age 18, Edward Causley enlisted in the Canadian Overseas Expeditionary Force on January 26, 1916, in Sarnia with the 149th Battalion. He arrived in Liverpool, England on April 7, 1917, becoming a member of the 25th Reserve Battalion. Stationed in Bramshott, this was the first of many moves on June 1, 1917. He was posted to the 116th Battalion, stationed up at Camp Whiteley, and it was here that Edward received a Good Conduct Badge on January 6, 1918. With the 161st, on April 5, 1918, Edward arrived in France with the Canadian Infantry 1st Battalion. Edward soon found himself a part of the 100-Day Campaign. The 100 Days Campaign was the beginning of the end of the Great War. Canadians were called on again and again over the 3-month period that led to the offensive against the toughest German defenses. The series of victories repeatedly drove the Germans back, resulting in Germany's unconditional surrender on November 11th. On August 30th, 1918, less than 5 months after arriving in France, Edward Causley was killed after being hit by an enemy shell fire while fighting in the Second Battle of Arras. In October 1918, Margaret Causley in Sarnia received a letter from her brother, Jim Ward, informing her of her son's death. The following portion of that letter: France, September 22nd, 1918.
My dear sister, I really don't know how to start this letter. May God give you strength to bear this terrible news of our brave hero Eddie, who was killed moving into Upton Woods in France. I was inquiring for Eddie, thinking I would see his smiling face, but when they told me the news and how brave he was, I nearly fainted. I could not believe it until I saw his grave. He was to communion a few days before when I last saw him. How pleased I was to see him. I thought the world of him, our dear, sweet, darling boy that is gone. He had no pain. He didn't know what hit him. It was a machine gun bullet. He fought all day and went about 13 miles on, then had the misfortune to get killed just as the Germans were driven out. There are 300 in the cemetery. I will go over to his grave every day and say the beads. I have the rosary beads he gave me in England. I am heartbroken and sorry over your terrible loss. Well, my dear sister, this is terrible, and you don't know how I feel. I really love the ground he walked on. I will write to you again soon and tell you more. With love to you and your dear family, I remain your loving brother, Jim.